In 1990, one of the greatest comic book adaptations ever made burst onto the big screen. Warren Beatty's Dick Tracy. With its star-studded cast, bold colours, unforgettable villains, and a tidal wave of merchandise, this film became a short-lived but powerful cultural phenomenon. Now, more than 30 years later, this podcast is here to explore, unpack, and dissect this brightly coloured masterpiece, week by week, scene by scene. So pull up a chair at the Southside Warehouse, because there's going to be a big payoff.
Hello and welcome to Talking Dick, the Dick Tracy movie podcast. I am your host, Mr. Simon Creswell, and my co-host joining me from the red carpet is Mr.
James Tilling.
How's the red carpet today, James? Lots of paparazzi there?
It is. It's looking pretty good down here on the carpet, seeing all the stars come in, being transported straight back to 1991.
I'm disappointed you haven't got your curtains, your haircut. That would have been nice.
I should have done that. I was debating. I should have gone and got my tuxedo and put that all on. And
we just sat here in hoodies. We wouldn't even get into the Oscars, would we?
No, we wouldn't. No.
We are talking about the awards, and in particular the 1991 Academy Awards. Is that right? On this week's
right.
show?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So the 63rd Oscars. That
was it 63rd or 61st? I did look that up earlier, and I forgot to write it down. 1928. Try to do the maths on that. Yeah, we'll call it the 60-something Oscars.
So, yeah.
Before we get into that and this week's episode, I just want to give a shout out to a few people I've been speaking to this week in the Dick Tracy community. We're obviously a few weeks behind in kind of and ahead of ourselves and recording these in the future. But we've launched the show and some lovely people have got in touch with us from some of the other podcasts that are out there. I've spoken this week to Stuart from And Why Not podcast, Monty from Dick Tracy Movie webpage, and Detective Dick Tracy's social media as well. I've been chatting to these guys, Brian, that was. And Stuart raised a question I wanted to bring up and start the show with. He raised a point which I thought would be good to put out there to the community. So he said to me that, did I remember that in the movie when Tracy leaves the opera house and he goes to see the warehouse where Roden and Littleface and the Brow have been shot, he said, do I remember a scene where Tracy pulls back a sheet to see the bodies and identify them? Because he remembers this scene and he asked if I remembered it because it's not in the movie. So it would be, I think he goes to the warehouse as it stands at the moment. He chats to Pat or Sam. They tell him that some people have been shot, but then he kind of goes back to the opera house. But he's saying there's this extra scene where they pulls back the sheets and identifies the bodies. I assume he says rodent, the Brow, Littleface. Do you remember that scene, or has our friend Stuart completely imagined it?
I mean, I wish that scene existed. I mean, if it did, I think I would remember it too. So, I mean, that could be the reason that it actually did happen, because he remembers it so vividly. But from my memory, Tracy walks in. I think there's one officer who's knelt down as if maybe the bodies are nearby. And then Sam and some of the other police officers and Pat maybe I think they're all looking down.
Yeah.
But the camera never goes down. I don't even think you even see anything. There's no feet, there's no sheet. I don't think you do. And also as well, that would be really quite graphic.
Littleface with bullet holes.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's hideous enough as it is, but being shot up in a dead body, I don't think it would keep its PG rating.
But unless the shot that Stuart's thinking of is looking up at Tracy as he pulls the sheet back and he's like, rodent, Brow, and he's kind of looking. You're looking up at Tracy, so you don't see the bodies. I don't know. But he Stuart said when he messaged me that what's funny is that Pat and Sam say oh, I don't know who these guys are that have been shot. And it's well, look at Littleface. pretty easy to identify,
Yeah. And there's the Brow, the international espionage king.
Yeah. There he is with his what they call it, grey matter. On his head.
I mean, that's well. I'd like to do a little bit of digging around and see. I'm sure that he's done that already to see if that does.
It could be from a documentary, a TV special or something. Because sometimes those talk shows and stuff have clips, don't they, sent in ahead of the movie's release. So maybe he saw something like that. Or maybe it's the Mandela effect, and
Yes.
it's that mismemory, that's out there. If you don't know what the Mandela effect is, get Googling and go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting stuff. Anyway, I just wanted to go off on tangent on that because I thought it was interesting. And if anyone
No,
else
that is.
has got any bits they remember from the movie that are now not in it, email us, and we'll happily look into it and investigate it for you. Like, wasn't there a Madonna
Absolutely.
topless scene? Wasn't she topless in one scene?
Yeah, for one frame.
One frame, one subliminal frame. Anyway, back on track. So awards is what we're talking about this week.
Live from Los Angeles, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences presents Oscar, the 63rd Annual Academy Awards.
Did you watch the 1991 Academy Awards?
Not in its entirety, I must admit, but I'd watched in preparation for this episode. I've watched some of the select clips of Dick Tracy's part in the awards. So I've kind of watched that, and obviously just checking out what else kind of went on during those awards. There's one very famous acceptance speech in there as well, which we'll probably get to.
Okay. And obviously to tease, Dick Tracy did win some awards. So if you haven't looked into this yet, you're up for some nice surprises.
Yeah.
But it didn't win Best Picture. Anyway, I'm going to take you back, James. Are you ready for this?
Okay. All right.
On March
transported.
On March the 25th, 1991, the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles hosted the 63rd Academy Awards, the star-studded film extravaganza hosted for the first time by Billy Crystal, who would go on to host the ceremony 8 more times, promised an entertaining evening celebrating the talents of filmmakers across the industry. Leading the field with 12 nominations was Dances with Wolves, followed by 7 nominations each for The Godfather Part 3 and Dick Tracy. Kathy Bates, as seen in Dick Tracy, entered the night in pursuit of her first Oscar for gripping performance in Misery. She also appeared briefly in Dick Tracy. Al Pacino, nominated for his standout portrayal of Big Boy Caprice in Dick Tracy, was also hoping for his first Oscar win on his 6th time trying, though he faced tough competition, most notably from Joe Pesci for his electrifying performance in Goodfellas. Madonna took the stage in support of Dick Tracy, performing Sooner or Later with the house band. The song, written by Stephen Sondheim, was nominated for Best Original Song that evening. So, James, tell me about the 1991 Academy Awards. What was it like? What was going on? What was the buzz before we get into the nominations?
Yeah. So as you kind of mentioned there in that great intro, is Dances with Wolves was the big film of the night. Other notable films in there, obviously Dick Tracy, had Goodfellas, so more gangster films that were in there. So Goodfellas was in there, and The Godfather Part 3. So kind of mad to think having 3 like gangster movies, mafia movies, because it were kind of thing like all in there. And obviously Pacino doing both The Godfather and Dick Tracy.
Yeah,
I think he had Ghost was also in there that year.
Yeah, the less said about Ghost, the better, really.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And then I think there was a Gerard Depardieu film.
Yeah, Sereno de Bergerac. Or is that how it's pronounced?
There you go. Yeah, I'll take that. And then obviously Misery as well. So there's quite a few big films. It felt like this was probably like the last kind of ending kind of era of where the Oscars was just all big movies, like, because obviously just around the corner you had the indie filmmakers like Tarantino was just coming around and going to kind of change the whole dynamic. So it felt like the kind of maybe a little end of an era.
Yeah, I'd say it's the end of the 80s, that's for sure, because every decade always flows slightly into the next decade, doesn't it? So it's probably the end of that kind of like 80s era. I've never seen Dances with Wolves. That's my confession on the podcast today. I think our granddad had a copy of it, didn't he, for years? But
I
it
think
just looks really boring as a kid, didn't it? But I need to do it. I need to watch it. I hear it holds up well. Here it is good. So
I watched it many years ago. I prefer just to watch Dick Tracy again.
Yeah, and obviously Goodfellas, one of the greatest films ever made. It is in there as well. Godfather Part 3, it's flawed, but it's got its moments. And I'm never probably going to watch the Gerard Depardieu film.
But I mean, it's like, again, Dick Tracy is in good company of
Oh, yeah,
other
yeah.
big movies. It's got joint second amount of nominations. So
Yeah.
it's like it's so peculiar. One of the things I think we've said early on is saying that how big Dick Tracy was at the time, and I think that it's like today people just have forgotten how big it was and how respected it was.
Yeah.
And again, and the Oscars, this is kind of the proof to say it wasn't just people saying, "Oh, it was good," or fans saying it years later. Within a year of the film being released, it's at the Oscars. It's getting nominations. It's getting wins. It's a big deal.
But also, it's been kind of looked back on now as kind of like a kids' film, a Disney film, a comic book film. But people, as you say, forget this was in the running for best, not best picture, but it's in the running for like best supporting actor, and some of those things you're going to go over in a minute. Which is, obviously someone somewhere recognised this as a bit of a future classic. And here we are in 2026 looking back, and it's an absolute classic.
It is. It is.
Two guys should make a podcast about this.
Yeah, I think so.
So one thing I noticed looking into this was that Madonna was there in a white dress, looking very Marilyn Monroe-like, and her date for the Oscars. Did you see who her date was?
I did, yeah. Michael Jackson, wasn't it?
Just Madonna rocking up with Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
She was clearly too old for him. But
yeah, that must have literally just broke the red carpet. The pair of them walked down. Like we were saying, they're the two biggest pop stars in the world at that point. Yeah, coming in together.
I know. I was trying to put it in today's world. Taylor Swift turning up with. I couldn't think of a male star, like a big male star, who would be the equivalent. Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran. Yeah. But it doesn't though. That doesn't feel the same.
No,
but again, it shows you how the Oscars themselves were so big back then as well. Everybody went to it.
Yeah, you look at the photos and everyone's there. Yeah, from Whoopi Goldberg to whatever Richard Gere. Everyone. I saw loads of pictures of different people. So online, there's some video clips as well on YouTube, which we can probably share. We can watch a couple of these Dick Tracy Awards, and also you can see Madonna sing sooner or later. She's there performing it, isn't she?
She is. Yeah.
What did you make of that?
I thought that was a brilliant performance that she did again, because she does it like with the house band, as you said, that are there. So it's not it's not like a backing track, and again it's a live individual performance. Yeah, it's not like I'm going to copy exactly as in the film or exactly as it is on the album. It's like a totally new version. She sings it differently.
Yeah, she's top of her game as well. When you can see when you watch it, she's just nailing it. Yeah, and the confidence
definitely
off through the roof.
Yeah, I mean that's a big part in the success of that song is her. I know she didn't write it, but it's like I can't think of anyone that could have done that better than her at that time.
No, I'm trying to think. I think Adele wasn't even born, was she? So.
Yeah, exactly.
She probably was.
Yeah.
Okay, let's open some of those envelopes then. Yeah. So let's start with... Dick Tracy was nominated for 7 awards, did you say?
It was, yep. So 7 awards it got nominated for. So.
Okay, so let's go through. What was the first one we're going to talk about?
First one we've got is Best Art Direction.
Okay, this year's nominees for Art Direction are Cyrano de Bergerac, Dances with Wolves, Dick Tracy, art direction by Richard Silbert, set decoration by Rick Simpson. Godfather Part 3, Hamlet, art decoration by Dante Ferretti, set decoration by Francesca Lo Schiavo.
And the Oscar goes to Richard Silbert for Dick Tracy, and for set decoration, Rick Simpson.
It got Best Art Direction.
It did. Yeah, Best Art Direction.
Why wouldn't it? It's a beautiful film, beautiful colours, beautiful sets.
Yeah.
We're going to cover the sets and the art direction and stuff on a future episode. But there's a lot to talk about there. But I'm quite surprised it didn't lose to Dances with Wolves, because I imagine the landscapes and the settings in that. I haven't seen it, but I imagine there's also quite a good art direction in that film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, obviously, they gave them the credit they felt they deserved for it. It was the two guys, Richard Silbert and Rick Simpson. They were the two guys who were responsible for it.
And they go up and get it, don't they? That clip is on YouTube.
So hopefully we'll show that little clip of them coming up to come and get it. So
and what I love about it, actually, when you watch that clip, when they announce the winner, the screen fills with a giant envelope. It just comes like floating like this cheap computer effects, this giant envelope. It just holds there for way too long. And then when it goes, they're on stage. But classic early 90s, like
isn't it? They're really proud of their new graphics that they'd worked out how to do.
Yeah. So what's the second one then? What's the second award that Dick Tracy is up for?
Okay, so the second award we've got it was for Best Cinematography.
Oh yes, because we've got our man. Is his name Vito? What's his name?
That's it. It is Vito.
The 5 cinematographers nominated by their peers are Alan Davio for Avalon, Dean Semler for Dances with Wolves, Vittorio Storaro for Dick Tracy, Gordon Willis for Godfather Part 3, Philippe Rousselot for Henry and June. And the Oscar goes to Dean Semler, Dances with Wolves.
So yeah, it's those landscapes, those big vista landscapes.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know who directed Dances with Wolves. It was Kevin Costner, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, he did. Yeah, so we can say that he got the Oscar. Warren Beatty, wasn't in the runnings for Best Director, unfortunately.
No.
But to add to that as well, I mean, I don't think Warren should feel that bad when he looks over it and sees Martin Scorsese sat there, also with nothing in his hand either, which, let's be honest, is pretty insane that he didn't get an award for that.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot to say about the Oscars and Scorsese, probably for another podcast. But
you're right, exactly.
Raging Bull, Goodfellas, Taxi Driver. Oh no, we'll give it to him for the Departed. But anyway, don't worry about that. We'll get back. That's another day.
Yeah.
Okay. What's number 3?
So we're going number 3. It was nominated for Best Costume Design. So in our previous podcast, obviously, we did a big in-depth look at that one. Milena Canarero, I think her name was.
Yeah.
So obviously she was up, and obviously, like, after us doing that and doing all our research, I would kind of feel that she would have been a pretty big.
Well, she was
runner.
Legendary, wasn't she? If you haven't listened to the podcast, she did the costumes for Clockwork Orange and Barry Lyndon.
That's it,
and she's
exactly.
still around. She's still out there working.
To a film. This year's costume designs cover styles and periods from garments worn by first-generation Americans in Avalon, designed by Gloria Gresham, during the time of Cyrano, designed by Franca Squarciappino. The frontier simplicity of Dances with Wolves, designed by Elsa Zamparelli. The comic strip brought to cinematic life in Dick Tracy, designed by Milena Cananero. And the costumes that evoke the ancient royal court of Denmark in Hamlet, designed by Maurizio Milanotti. The Oscar goes to Franca Squarciappino for Cyrano de Bergerac.
So, and it went to Bergerac. So, unfortunately, Bergerac.
But
got in
I think we
again.
said before, didn't we? The costumes in that were like, whatever, 1800s, like lavish costumes with hats. Like, all right, we'll let it have it. But they weren't importing those yellow fabrics from the UK like she was to make those Dick Tracy costumes from scratch.
Exactly.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. If we were on the Academy members, we would have voted differently.
Okay, that's 3 then. What, number 4 next?
So number 4 we have is Best Makeup.
The nominees for makeup are Michel Burke and Jean-Pierre Chen for Cyrano de Bergerac, John Caglione Jr. and Doug Drexler for Dick Tracy. V. Neal and Stan Winston for Edward Scissorhands. And the Oscar goes to John Caglione Jr. and Doug Drexler for Dick Tracy.
Yeah, so quite interesting how there's only 3 films like in nomination for that, which is kind of odd. Like, doesn't every film have makeup, or like was it only like makeup to a larger extent of like prosthetics and stuff?
I'm also thinking, wasn't that around the time of Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6? What about Freddy? Where was Freddy's makeup? Just saying, horror never gets recognised by the Academy, does it? But
it doesn't. It doesn't.
You know, that's, I'm sure there's plenty of horror films from 1990. Does it say who won, who picked up the award? Because the clip is online, isn't it? You can see the clip.
It is, yeah. So that is for makeup is John Caglione Jr., I think is his name. So yeah,
Okay.
and he does, I think he does come and get his award. And the presenter of the award was Anne Archer, who I didn't know who she was. I had to Google it, and it said she was in Fatal Attraction, but I still didn't know who she was.
Oh, she's Michael Douglas's wife, isn't she? Is she in Fatal Attraction? Well, it's not Glenn Close, is it? So it's obviously,
no,
I would think that's who she is.
I should probably go back as well to say for the art direction presenters on that was Richard Gere and Susan Sarandon.
Okay, that's pretty
which
cool.
Obviously, it's quite funny because with Richard Gere, because we were saying like if there was going to be an alternate casting for Warren Beatty, Richard Gere would probably have been the next one.
Yeah. We flagged him up.
So imagined. Yeah.
Richard Gere with his little eyes, his little squinty eyes. I'm just looking at makeup department, and this guy who will cover makeup at a later date, but he's been involved in loads of films: The Dark Knight, American Gangster. I'm just looking through. He's been working for years, so he's definitely worth an episode. We need to do an episode on the makeup. He also did Poltergeist 3. You know, another classic. But we'll come back to makeup at a later date. But I'm good. That's 2 awards for Dick Tracy. So, what was number 5? The 5th award
for best sound mixing. So that was is it Thomas Kelsey?
Yeah, who died, didn't he, recently? Yeah.
So he was up for nomination with a guy called Chris Jenkins and David Campbell, Doug Hempel. Obviously, unfortunately, I don't know them, but at least Thomas Kelsey, who we did mention.
So Dick Tracy's basically up for a lot of the technical categories, isn't it?
Yes, you're right.
So far,
that is a very good point. It is,
and that's more broad, isn't it? Even in today's award ceremonies, the technical categories tend to be random. Like things like Avatar could be in there. Things like Avatar aren't going to win Best Picture, but they can win like Best, computer effects.
Yeah,
it always makes it a more broad playing field, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, especially about those kind of key Best Picture ones and all your kind of classic skill sets of filmmaking has got one, and then technical achievements for others, isn't it? So,
I just had a thought. They're bringing in a stunt category, aren't they? So I was just thinking, there's that stunt in the film where Tracy jumps onto the lamppost, bashes his chin, and then slides down, which is rumoured to be Warren Beatty, but I don't know if it is.
It's funny because I was reading that there was an interview and that someone did ask him and said like, what did you go and speak to the stuntman afterwards and see that he was okay? And he went, yeah, I did. It was me. But like you said, it's like,
was it Warren?
I cannot imagine. I just can't imagine that would have been him. They're too much risky. Unless that was the very last shot of the entire shoot, so it didn't matter if something happened.
It's like a 15-foot drop, isn't it? From that lamppost.
And he nearly knocks himself out in the process.
But it would explain, if it wasn't a professional stuntman, why he clumped it with his chin. Because surely someone who's used to doing that sort of stuff wouldn't have had quite that impact.
Yes, exactly.
But maybe we need to get the stuntman from Dick Tracy on this podcast and find out if he's still alive.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. We can only pray.
Anyway, I've got a topic. Back to what
I'll just say, so the other nominees for sound. They had sort of a couple of extra different films in here. Days of Thunder.
Brilliant.
Is in there. Hunt for the Red October.
Yep.
Dances with Wolves. And Total Recall.
Whoa.
Yeah. So you know what?
Total
I did
Recall.
not know that Total Recall had an Oscar nomination. So that's
Trying to think
cool.
of relevant sound in Total Recall. What are they kind of referencing there? Like it's like Days of Thunder. Okay, you got the car sounds, the motors. You can see that. But Total Recall, I love Total Recall, obviously. But I'm just trying to think of what would have made that nominated for sound. Anyway, if you've got any particular knowledge of Total Recall, and you want to email us, please do. So who won?
So the award went to Dances with Wolves.
No, not Total Recall.
Getting it. No, fortunately not. Yeah, or Dick Tracy. A bit of a shame. But anyway, so we'll go on to the next one. So this is one of the bigger categories. We've got is for Best Supporting Actor.
Okay.
So this is the only actor nomination that Dick Tracy had. Hoping for was for Al Pacino, who's doing Big Boy. And then, as you said in that opening bit there, this was it 6th or 7th time? How many? I think he said
my notes. It was
6th time of trying. This was, you said, yeah.
I mean, so he hadn't won a Best Actor Oscar at this point, or Best Supporting Actor or anything.
No,
right, which
so
is
I think
absolutely crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, just for The Godfather alone, Michael Corleone, his transition from that film, even in The Godfather 2, I mean, the fact he didn't win is mental.
Yeah, it is.
Just put it out there.
Yeah. And then to get nominated, a number of times more, and still not get it.
Yeah. So this feels like a classic case of his time. The Academy desperate to give him something. No, of course, Big Boy's a great performance. Don't want to discredit that, but you sometimes sense it, don't you?
You do, yeah, exactly. But it must have been the one of thinking, like, I think the other ones I said was The Godfather. They were probably for leading actor. I don't know if this was his first for supporting, but you'd be thinking, like, if I'm gonna, I'm a lead actor. If I get nominated for a support, I've got a great chance.
No, I think he's nominated for support with The Godfather, isn't he? I think that was what was silly about it, because Brando's up for Best Actor and he's up for Best Support. But actually, he's in more of the film.
That's it is a good point, actually.
I think I must have researched it, but I think that's the case. But anyway, who wins the Best Supporting Actors?
So Al Pacino in Dick Tracy. You've got a guy called Graham Greene for Dances with Wolves.
Yep.
You've got Andy Garcia for The Godfather Part 3. It's been his only ever Oscar nomination.
Yeah, and it's not a great performance, is it? It's
not really, no. So, like, as I'm reading through, I think if you're Al Pacino, you'd be like, I think I've got this. Then he's also got Bruce Daleson from Long Time Companion. I don't know who he is or even what that film is.
I don't know.
So he'd be thinking, I've got this, until Joe Pesci for Goodfellas.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Home Alone.
Yeah.
My head's on fire. Ah!
Yeah. I think he could have got it for that as well.
Either or.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's insane in Goodfellas, isn't he? He's terrifying. So, like, I won't reveal. I think I know where this is going, but go on.
So obviously the award goes to Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
So, and I think he is also, as well as being an Oscar winner, he's also got the credit of the shortest acceptance speech.
just gets up and swears, does he?
Fuck this, and then off he goes.
Beats someone down with a shoe.
Yeah. I think he comes up and just goes, and he goes like, "It was a pleasure, thank you." Gone.
Oh, it's my privilege. Thank you.
Well, look, don't worry, Elle, because you then go and win the Best Actor for Scent of a Woman, doesn't he? Like 2 years later, again, his time. Hoo-ah, Charlie, my boy, hoo-ah!
Exactly.
I don't think he would have done Scent of the Woman unless he'd done Big Boy first. I feel like he probably he needed to go through the Big Boy vibes.
I think he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah. He needed those transitions of all those characters to acclimatise it with that performance.
It's like, what do I have to do to win? Just go blind. Be blind. You'll win. Oh, okay.
I'm also imagining. I think when I watched the clip, because maybe in the early 90s they didn't do this, but they didn't seem to show many clips of the films, like whereas they do now. They'll, there's the Oscar clip, that scene in the film where you throw it out the bag and everyone's like, yeah, that's the clip they're going to show when you get nominated for an Oscar. But this, they don't do it. So when I was watching it, I was just hoping that they were going to do the dance routine and the nomination Dick Tracy, Al Pacino for Dick Tracy.
Just, in fact, he should enjoy Madonna, shouldn't he? Like, that would have been great. She performs at the show and he gets up on stage, slaps her. They just stop the song and he gets up and slaps her. Like, oh dear, that would be. Everyone in the audience is just in shock. Oh.
Yeah.
So we've got off on a tangent.
Right ass.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Right.
So
we
need
to do a podcast on Al Pacino. That's on
we
the
do.
list.
We do.
There's so much to talk about with Al, but yeah. Go on. What are we up to? Number 6. I've lost track.
So that's 6. Yeah. So the last one is for best original song.
Okay.
So obviously Dick Tracy's in there for Sooner or Later by Stephen Sondheim. And then alongside that, it's there's Somewhere in My Memory from Home Alone. I don't actually know what that song is. Yeah, obviously it's John Williams.
Is that just an instrumental then, maybe? John Williams isn't really famous for writing lyrics, is he? So I wouldn't have. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. It also there's from The Godfather Part 3, Promise Me You'll Remember. Again, another interesting. I don't know what that one is. Postcards from the Edge, song called I'm Checking Out.
Okay.
Yeah. And then another interesting entry into the Oscars. Yeah, Young Guns 2, Blaze of Glory.
Bon Jovi, isn't it?
Yes, sorry, yes, you're right. It is, yeah, Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
So Bon Jovi Oscar nominated.
What's really funny is we're about to go off on another tangent here, but I picked up a CD at the time from the car boot of like movie themes, which were all like cheap versions, and the cover for this CD, if you remember it, it had like Dances with Wolves, it had like Young Guns, and it had all these songs you've just mentioned on it, but like cheap versions, almost like done on a keyboard
versions.
And I think on there is like a keyboard version of Hanky Panky, which we should dig out because we could probably play it. There can't be anyone that has the rights to that CD anymore from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But the reason I mentioned it is because the front cover had like an Oscar on it. So it must have been almost films from this time. I'll try and find the CD and put a picture up. It must be on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah.
But just you talking about Young Guns, Go For It, or whatever it was called, I'm pretty sure that had a cheap synth version on that CD.
Yes. Yeah, I bet it did.
Surely Dick Tracy's got this in the bag then, surely.
And the Oscar goes to Stephen Sondheim for Sooner or Later, I Always Get My Man from Dick Tracy. The Academy congratulates Stephen Sondheim and accepts on his behalf.
Third win of the night. And also, as we spoke about earlier, performed by Madonna that night as well.
Yeah. So it was all the stars were all aligned for
that. It was.
So the awards, it wasn't nominated for Best Actor. I'm looking here. Best Actor went to Jeremy Irons. There was no nominees for Best Actress, was there? She wasn't up for Best Actress, Madonna.
No.
But Kathy Bates won for Dick Tracy. No, sorry, for Misery.
Yeah. Imagine if she did that. She got up there and thanked the wrong film. Thanks, Warren. I mean, sorry.
Best Supporting Actress went to Whoopi Goldberg. Another one that Madonna probably could have squeezed into, or Tess. You know, And I think that's it of all the relevant ones. Best effects, sound effects and editing went to the Hunt for Red October. So I actually want to watch the whole awards now. I'm quite keen to find an old VHS copy and work my way through it.
Yeah. No, it's a good ceremony, and it's very nostalgic, just of all those films, from that period as well.
Is Warren there? I didn't see any clips of him.
You know what? I didn't. I did look it up online, and it said he was there. And again, it was quite strange because again, when you watch the modern ones now, there's so many cameras, and they've got the cameras on the main directors and the main actors in these films to cut to when the awards are. And also, like when they, stand up, if they know there's categories people are likely to win in, they'll kind of bunch them together and they'll congratulate the director. But where Warren, even when they were winning, he was nowhere to be found, which was quite strange.
Yeah.
So
maybe he was too nervous, the other one as too anxious.
Stephen Sondheim, he didn't collect his, did he?
No, he didn't. No, because when you watch that video, it's really short. And it's just a bit short. How are they going to get around this? And he's just not there. He's off writing music, probably. So, Oscars aside, I had a quick look online and I could see it was up for lots of other awards. The Young Artist Award, it was nominated. Best Actor, Charlie Corsimo, who plays the kid, was up for Best Actor for the Young Artist Awards. There's the NSFC Awards, the Movie Music UK Awards, the Silver Ribbon Awards, the Grammys, the Golden Globes, the DFWCA Awards, the CFCA Awards, the Artwas Award, and the British Society of Cinematographers. All these things, it didn't win.
Oh.
However, I did see that it won an American Comedy Award, Comedy Actor Award. Al Pacino won that at the American Comedy Awards, whatever that was. And it won at the Saturn Awards, wherever they are. I probably should have researched that. It won Best Makeup and Best Fantasy Film.
Okay.
But I guess it is a fantasy. EMI Film Music Awards, Danny Elfman won the Best Score. And the BSFC, which is like the Boston Cinematography Awards, it won Best Cinematography. So not just Oscars, it also won across the field. And then the other notable one is the BAFTAs. There's a little bit online about the BAFTAs, isn't there? Not a great deal. But I think it won a couple of BAFTAs, didn't it? I'm just looking through now.
I think it might have won in a couple of the same categories it won in the Oscars for, I think.
I'm just looking now. I was nominated for lots of stuff, but it doesn't look like it won. Oh, it did. Best Makeup. It won the BAFTA for Best Makeup. It was up against Cinema Paradiso, great film, Ghost, and The Witches, which is also...
wow.
The makeup of The Witches is brilliant. I hadn't even thought about that.
It is, Roald Dahl. Exactly. That is good.
Terrifying kids film.
Yeah.
And it won Best Production Design as well at the BAFTAs. It was up against Cinema Paradiso again, The Hunt for Red October, and The Sheltering Sky, which I have no recollection of.
Because I was remembering as well, because now the award ceremonies, definitely the BAFTAs and the Oscars are now aligned, but they used to be quite far apart. And so then when their kind of categories would open and close would change. And also back in the 90s, the release windows on the films
were hugely different.
Yeah. So that you could then you could nearly have a totally different set of films up for nomination for the BAFTAs that you could have for the Oscars if the release windows were really far apart. Because I've got a feeling was Dances with Wolves. How did that was that at the BAFTAs that year?
I can't really see it in there. No, I'm looking at it. It's not really in here. The films that are in here are slightly different.
So that's what I wonder is if Dances with Wolves hadn't actually come out yet in the UK, so therefore it wasn't up for nomination.
I just want to throw just some interesting facts here for you. Best special visual effects at the BAFTAs. Dick Tracy was up for that alongside Ghost and Total Recall and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids won.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, that's an interesting battle there, isn't it? Honey, I Shrunk the Kids up against Dick Tracy, both Disney films.
It's funny as well how you think of visual effects. You now think of computer generated, but that's what everyone thinks. You think, but all of those visual effects aren't. They're like in camera effects, forced perspective and.
Well, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. They're building giant Cheerios, aren't they? Giant ads. But yeah, just a completely different set of films at the BAFTAs, but they did recognise Goodfellas more so than the Academy.
Yes.
So I think we've covered all Dick Tracy's awards. I'm sure there's some stuff out there. It won elsewhere. I'm sure it won like the Smash Hits Awards or something random that we haven't got a record of. But if anyone knows of any additional awards it won, I don't know, best actor.
I think Ice-T won a Brit, didn't he? I think for
for that song. I suppose the Brits are so terrible, it's quite possible. But I think we need to research that. Did Ice-T win any awards?
Yeah.
Golly, Dick Tracy, I'm feeling racy. Okay, so before we conclude today, then Dick Tracy news. I had a little look. There's no significant Dick Tracy news this week. Essentially, no one's died.
Yeah.
Yes, which is always a bonus. Which brings us on to our Dick Tracy purchases. Have you made any Dick Tracy purchases this week, James?
Okay, I have got a little purchase here. Which
you
is
haven't shared this with me. What is this?
So this is the Dick Tracy campaign book, which I thought was kind of quite fitting, really, because obviously with the Oscars and the Oscar campaigning that would have gone along. To be honest with you, I don't actually know what this was actually a campaigning thing for. So it's a nice little folder that comes out, and then in here you've then got these slides. So it's telling you basically like merchandising for Dick Tracy, and basically who to call if you want to get an 18-inch foil balloon. Call Mari Gransbury on 0438 741 877.
Don't give her number out. Jeez.
Oh God. Yeah. So there's like that. There's like some press information here telling you about getting 10x8 black and white stills. There's also a word puzzle here that you can do. I mean, I'm kind of envisioning these would have been in the Oscar goodie bags. I'm pretty sure. Like there'd have been some Gucci sunglasses and the Dick Tracy campaign booklet. I mean, who could have wanted more? I spot the difference. And I got.
So it's like a press kit. Is essentially what you've got here?
I think it is. Yeah, I think. I guess it probably would have been
video shops and say like, do you want to order? I know Dick Tracy balloon, as you've said.
Yeah,
and we do. Look at it. In 2026, we would love to have this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, it's like this merchandise stuff in here. There's the novelizations, the book, and the cassette you can get. Mugs, glassware, nightwear you could get, action figure toy range, Bandai. If we only had that number all those years ago, we'd be ringing up. Where's the blank? Give me a blank. Yeah, posters, cards. Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I can't. I mean, these numbers. I think they are UK numbers. I think I'm pretty sure they all are. I'd say I'd probably call them. I'm sure the numbers have probably all disappeared now.
I'm loving these things you can find on the internet for Dick Tracy. Someone's probably got a complete room somewhere of Dick Tracy stuff where they've got all these kind of nitbits, but we're finding them week by week. I sadly don't have a Dick Tracy purchase. However, I have to say today, I went on eBay and looked at a couple of my saved searches, and I have found that recently this week online, I've got to find it now on my eBay app. A Madonna Dick Tracy 10-inch LP picture disc has gone up. And it's really weird. So it's like clear. It's got a picture of Flat Top on the front, and Flat Top having his makeup done. And on the back, it's got like a picture from the comic.
Oh, wow.
Never seen this before. It's just gone up on eBay. Currently at £10.79. 8 days to go, which is why I'm telling the listeners, because by the time they get to this episode, I would have brought it, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just delay the episode.
Yeah. But it says it contains a Madonna interview and a Madonna interview on both sides, apparently. Mad 10. I don't know what that means. Rare UK limited edition 10-inch vinyl picture disc. Very limited edition, very few copies made in the early 90s. Never seen it, just appeared on eBay today. that's my future purchase of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully that will appear in coming episodes.
Yeah. And then someone probably will beat me to it, and they'll email into the podcast and say, yeah, I got that. You can have it for £100.
Yeah. It's like, oh, damn it.
That's it then. I think we've covered everything today in terms of the awards. Any final thoughts on the awards, James?
And another great showing of just the popularity and, the quality of Dick Tracy. I know we're preaching to the converted here, talking to one another, but the people out there that haven't seen this film, haven't heard of it, the younger generation, it's this another reason to go and watch it and to know that it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. No, amen to that. And that's a good way to finish the show. So till next time, we'll speak to you soon on Talking Dick, the Dick Tracy movie podcast.
Cheers. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to get in touch, you can email us at dtmoviepodcast@gmail.com. You'll also find us on X and Instagram at DT Movie Podcast. Or come and join our Facebook group, the Dick Tracy Movie Podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel for bonus videos and extra content.